Was this the top या फिर इस सिल्वर रैली में अभी भी कुछ जान बाकी है? सो लास्ट वीक हमने देखा कैसे हमने 29th ऑफ जैन को ऑलमोस्ट सारे मेटल्स पे टॉप बनाया. उसके बाद द कट दैट वी सॉ in the next few days was one of the biggest drops on precious metals ever recorded. By the Monday open, we were trading at the lows. उसके बाद से पूरा हफ्ता has been spent on deciding what this trend is gonna do. On this weekly review, let's look at the metals specifically and see the levels that we were talking about, how price has responded to it, what all is happening around the world around these metals, and what can actually impact price coming forward in the next week. So let's start with silver first. Silver में हमने देखा कि कैसे सारे exchanges around the world अपने margins slowly and steadily बढ़ाए जा रहे हैं. We talked about this in earlier videos as well, that the margins increasing could put pressure on the longs or the shorts, levered long or the levered shorts, whichever are in the control at that moment of the time. Right now, we have seen the normal retail and normal institutionals become actually levered long. So all the margin increases that we are seeing in the down move is actually forcing them to liquidate, right? So we saw the margins on MCX actually on silver go up to 70%. So if you are, let's say, trading a silver micro ka contract, which is 1 kg of silver trading at 250,000, let's say, you are actually right now paying somewhere around 190 to 2 lakhs ka margin just to trade that contract of 250. So what happens is you people like us retails who have a limited capital to actually allocate on such strategies or commodities actually are unable to trade that asset because of the margins requirement, which pushes us actually to close our positions. This practice of actually margins increasing, we saw it everywhere around the world. We also saw margins increase in the COMEX exchange, which is the global commodity exchange. We also saw margins increase in Shanghai exchange, which is very traded liquid right now. So it makes sense as well, right? So silver earlier historically used to move at somewhere around 20 IVs. Right now it's trading at 150 IV. What used to move at 1% moves at 10 to 15% a day. So what happens is all these exchanges actually have a volatility component on the margin calculation itself. So when the volatility of the asset itself increases from 20 to let's say 150, the margins automatically increases on these. So now let's go and look at the silver chart on what's going on and what the prices are saying. Post that, we'll go look at the IV charts as well. So silver, we saw that made a top somewhere around 420,000 and a low of somewhere around 225,000. Around this lows and high, we also talked about how this range of 290,000 is very important level to look at. A break upwards or downwards actually decides what happens to this long trend on silver. So last week, as we talked about, price actually tested this 290 level and decided to move down and trading between this low range and the range of 290. Currently, this uptrend that we have been on silver from past few months is being tested. Now we have to see, do we actually break this 290 level first or go lower first? A break above 290 levels could actually mean that we keep this continuous momentum that we had been on silver and keep going higher, and this down move is actually just leverage long being forced to close due to margin increases around the world. So keep attention to these two important levels of 290 and 225 to actually trade around it. So let's also look at the price of silver on COMEX, which is an exchange in US. We saw it pricing somewhere around $120 as high, and as of yesterday, Friday, we saw it bottoming somewhere around $64. That's a half of the cut of the whole price range, right? The $90 mark also marks that level where we are looking forward to. This would probably be somewhere around 290,000, that the levels that we are talking around. We saw that it reclaimed from the bottom. It has reclaimed the level earlier lows of $72. This low happened actually when China opened up yesterday in the morning, so the MCX was actually closed when this low was made. Hence, we did not see price being broken below that 225 levels that we see on MCX, but this price was quickly reclaimed again. So this could just be China closing some of its long position. There are two major things that the street is looking forward to in coming weeks. First being the large contract size on COMEX being traded on March. This would be one of the largest ever recorded open interest on the COMEX exchange history. The probable deliverable contracts on COMEX as of now on March is somewhere around 500 million ounces. That in kg becomes 15,000 tons. 15,000 tons of silver could actually swap hands on the March contract in COMEX. If we look at COMEX inventory, it is actually trading below that level. So if this deliverable goes through and there is a large amount of actual silver swapping hands, the inventory that COMEX actually has would not be able to fulfill that. So which could actually lead prices to squeeze even further higher if there is actual physical demand, because the prices of physical silver is trading higher than the prices of paper silver right now. If we look at COMEX ka silver inventory, we can actually see its inventory falling in the last few months from the highs, and the March contract, which is open right now, would actually surpass the level of inventory that it has right now. The other important news floating right now is of the Chinese billionaire trader Bian Ziming. He actually has a huge 450 ton silver cup position on the Shanghai exchange individually. The result of this huge trade could actually move silver prices around the globe. In case if he gets liquidated on his short position, the prices of silver can actually skyrocket from here. And if he's right, this could be one of the biggest individual return made on silver in recent memory. So let's look at gold to silver ratio that we have been talking about last few weeks. Gold to silver ratio actually bottomed somewhere around 43, at which silver made its top of 420,000. उसके बाद से we have been going up. Gold is actually outperforming silver. Now it's currently trading at 63. Few weeks back we talked about how the historic average of actually gold to silver is somewhere around 85. So now we are actually trading between the range of low of 43 and the historic average of 85. It's not that gold has actually gone up in prices, but the fall in silver has been so drastic that actually gold to silver ratio has picked up. This also tells you that silver is leading the trend as of now. Silver actually moves before other metals and the other metals are following the direction of silver. If the prices of silver falls any further, we could see the gold to silver ratio actually head back to its mean level of 83. So a lot of traders and investors have been asking me lately, Nikhil, should I invest in gold or silver right now? I usually tell them to go actually look at gold and silver ka ratio. This actually tells you which metal is relatively cheaper or expensive recently. Now let's look at silver IV and where it is trading comparatively to how it was trading last week. Last week we saw silver trading at somewhere around 150 IVs. That has come down to 131. That 150 IV was on the backdrop of that large 35% cut down move that we saw. The volatility has come down to 131, which still means that silver is somewhere around pricing 8 to 9% move per day. If this volatility goes further lower, we could see some stability in the silver market. If the prices go higher and we see large candles, the volatility could go back to 150 levels. Let's go and look at gold now. Gold last week made a top of somewhere around 182,000 and a bottom of somewhere around 138. We also talked about how this 160 ka level is very important level to look at. Price moving away from here could actually decide the trend. So last week we saw prices touch this level and actually head back lower, but this down move was not as aggregated as what happened on silver. Silver actually touched the lows after touching this level, but gold has been keeping strong after this as well. We can expect price to actually retest these levels and actually then make a decision if it wants to go up or down fiercely. Retest of this price range will actually decide the trend we are on. So expect some volatility when we touch this price range, either on the upside or on the downside. A trend will form depending on how fiercely we close on the upside or downside on these levels. Now let's go look at the IVs of gold now. Gold currently is trading around 155,000 and an IV of 51. An IV of 51 tells that gold is pricing to move somewhere around 3 to 4% every day. This has come down from what it was last week. Last week, this was trading somewhere around 60. So expect gold to make 3 to 4% ka candles every now and then on the daily time frame. Let's also talk about natural gas quickly. Natural gas made a top of somewhere around 420 and a low of 490 on the February expiry. A quick drop of somewhere around 40% within a couple of days. This came as the production caught up to the demand that was coming in from US due to the severe cold waves that was happening. We have seen some price stability after that, and the price is trading around 320 levels. We do not expect the volatility to go up any further as the production has caught up to the demand. But then again, we are living in a world where prices change so fast depending on how the world itself changes. So we could, if the production levels drop again further, we could see a lot of volatility and the price going higher. Let's also go and quickly look at the IVs of natural gas. Natural gas is currently trading at 122 IV, which actually increased from 90 to 150 midweek and then went back to 122. So that tells you how fast natural gas actually moves, not just on the price, but also on the volatility level. Natural gas currently trading at 122 ka IV means that the street is expecting somewhere around 9 to 10% candles every other day. 9 to 10% ka 9 to 10% ka range actually gives traders a lot of room to trade trend and volatility as well. We right now are living in fascinating times around commodities. What prices used to move in a year is what they are moving in a day. The prices that we see last week changes next week drastically depending on what happens midweek. That was it for this weekly review. I will see you midweek with the price updates of what is happening around commodities. Till then, manage your risks well, expect volatility, trade safe.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.